Welcome back. This is a quick tech where we learn together one step at a time. Last time we started working on our basic weekly goal tracker, and we said we're gonna see some shortcuts and formatting techniques that will make you faster and make everything look more professional. Today we're starting by delivering on exactly that promise. So by the end of this video, you will know keyboard shortcuts that speed up your work and common formatting techniques that make your data easier to read and work with. Let's dive right in. Let's open that weekly goal tracker from last time. Good. Everything is still here. Our headers are bold, we've got the background color, and the columns are properly sized. Now let's add some formatting that will make this more functional and easier to use. But first, let's talk about the keyboard shortcuts. Let's start with navigation shortcuts. Instead of clicking around with your mouse, you can use Tab to move right to the next cell. We mentioned this in the previous video. But if you press Shift+Tab, you will move to the left. Tab to the right. Shift+Tab to the left. We also covered that Enter takes you down one cell. And Shift-Enter, exactly, it takes you back up. For selecting data quickly, especially when you have a lot of data, hold Command, Shift, and press any arrow key. This will select everything until it hits an empty cell. So if you want to select everything below your current cell, hold Command, Shift, and press the down arrow, like this. See how it selects everything until it hits an empty cell? This works in all directions. Up, down, left, and right. Super handy when you are working with big datasets. And before we go further, I'm on a Mac, so when I say Command, just use Ctrl if you are on a Windows. From the previous video, you now know how to make a text bold, but instead of clicking the bold button, just press Command+B. Way faster, right? If you mess up, Command+Z undoes your last action. Everyone knows this one, but it works perfectly in Sheets too. Now, let's make this tracker look slightly more professional. I'll use some of the shortcuts we've learned as we go. Let's start with text alignment. Right now, everything is aligned to the left. But for some columns, centering may look cleaner. For example, I would select our priority column using Command Shift down and click this alignment button, then the center option to center the text. See, everything is centered now. Let's do the same for the status column. Great. For the next one, we will remove the bold and background color from the headers. How do we do that? Easy. First, select the entire row, then click on Format, then Clear Formatting. There is a keyboard shortcut for this one. That will be Command and \. So in a future video, if you see me removing formatting quickly, it might be the case that I'm using this shortcut. Now let's apply alternating colors to the rows. This helps you read across rows without losing your place. I'll show you what I mean. First, I'll make sure that I'm in one of these cells where our data is. Then select our data using Command+A to select all. Google Sheets is smart enough to figure out that you probably meant this entire data relative to where your active cell is, instead of the entire spreadsheet. Just be careful here. If you are out here, for example, and hit Command+A, it will select the entire spreadsheet. Okay, once you select all, go to Format, and all the way down here, choose Alternating Colors. Now look on the right. You can use any of these preset styles. Or you can also customize your own. There you go. Now each row is clearly separated and it's easy to read and follow, especially if you have a lot of data. Sometimes your text is too long for a cell. Let me show you what I mean. let me quickly type one more goal. Complete the quarterly sales report and send to management team. See how it spills into the next cell? We can fix this with text wrapping. To do that, I'll select this cell and click on Format, then Wrapping, and finally Wrap. Now as you can see, the text stays in its cell. Pro tip: if you have multiple cells that need wrapping, just repeat the same process above, but after selecting all the cells. Let's make your data entry more consistent with drop-down lists. In our status column, people might type different things to mean the same exact thing. Let's say they type done, or finished, or complete, but they all convey the same message. A drop-down fixes this. How? I'll select our status cell using Command-Shift-Down, right-click, and choose drop-down. Now look over to the right. It has already populated the available options based on our selection. Now I'll add the option for complete since we don't currently have it, but we know we will have to use it at some point. So click on Add another item, type complete, and voila. We can also assign colors to each option. For example, I will make not started red, for in progress maybe yellow, and for complete a greenish color. Done. Now let's make this column wider. We saw in the previous video how to adjust column widths by dragging the border. But here is a neat trick. If you double click that border instead of dragging, it will automatically resize it to fit whatever content is in that column. Watch this. Great. Now, when you click on any status cell, you get a nice drop-down menu. Let's say down the line, the status of one of the goals changes and you need to update it. Let's do that. See, the color changes automatically based on the status you select. Here are some more shortcuts that will speed up your data entry. For the due date, let's work with actual dates instead of just typing Monday or Tuesday. I'll click on this first due date cell and enter 12 for the month, 30 for the date, and 2025. Then hit enter. See how it automatically formats it? It knows this is a date. If I double click on the cell, you will see a date picker appears, confirming it recognizes this as a date and giving us an easy way to select any date we want. Now, here is something cool. I'll move my cursor to the bottom right corner of this cell until it turns into a plus sign. That's the key part. The cursor has to turn into this plus sign. Then I'll click and drag it down. Check that out. It automatically continues the date sequence. December 31st, January 1st, January 2nd, and so on. Why? Because Google Sheets knows we're working with dates and it increments them by 1 day each time. We'll explore how to customize these field patterns in future videos. And of course, you can always change any of these dates to whatever date you actually want. This autofill feature works with several types of patterns. Numbers work great. For example, I'll type 1 here and below it 2. Then I need to select both like this and wait for the cursor to turn into the plus sign, then drag it down. And it continues counting for us, 3, 4, 5, and so on. It also works with days of the week. For example, I will type Monday here and drag it down. It knows the sequence. Months work too. Type January here and drag it down. Great. By the way, this also works if you drag it horizontally, like this. Here is a question. What if you want to copy the same value to multiple cells without creating a sequence? For that, use Command-D. For example, under the priority column, if I want to set all of them to high, I will select this cell and the ones below using Ctrl+Shift+Down and press Ctrl+D. It fills all the selected cells with the exact same value. Imagine you have to do this for hundreds of rows. Much easier to do it this way. Now back to our dates. What if we want to change how they look? Currently, they show us 12, 30, 20, 25. Month first followed by date and year. But maybe we want it to display the year first followed by month and date. To do that, I'll select this date cell, go to Format, and then Number, and finally Custom Date and Time. In this box, I can customize exactly how my dates should appear. You can choose from any of these available formatting options, and in most cases you will find the format you need. But for this tutorial, let me clear what is in here first and build a new one from scratch. Now I will click this icon to see the options. I want the year first, so I'll select year and click on the year itself again to be able to choose the 4-digit option. Then I'll add a hyphen as a separator because that's what I want. Here you can choose whatever separator you want. Then I'll select month and choose the 2 digits version. Add another hyphen and finally day with leading 0 meaning 2 digits. Now click apply. Perfect. Now it shows us 2025, 1230. This format works great for sorting and looks more professional. Notice the other dates didn't change. That's because we only selected one cell when we applied the format. Do we have to go through the whole process again for each date? Not at all. We can copy the format from our properly formatted cell and paste it to the others. To do that, right-click on the formatted cell, choose Copy, then right-click on the cell you want to format, and then select Paste Special, Format Only. Actually, there are 2 even better ways to do this. Let's undo this by hitting Command-Z and then select the formatted cell, click this Paint Format tool in your toolbar, then click wherever you want to apply the format. But my preferred method is using keyboard shortcuts. Here is how. First, copy the format with Command-C, like you copy any other thing. Then click or select on the target cell and press Command-Option-V. On Windows, I believe that would be Ctrl+Alt+V. Excellent. One more useful feature before we wrap up this episode. Freezing rows. Sometimes you have a lot of rows and want to scroll down to the bottom, but you also want to see the column headers or the first row so you know what each column represents. To keep those headers visible while scrolling, go to View, Freeze, one row. Now, when I scroll down, the header row stays in place. You can do the same thing for columns as well. Now, when you scroll to the right, you will see the frozen column. This is especially useful when you have names in the first column and a long list of other columns. You can keep those names visible as you scroll to the right. The easiest way to adjust these freeze options is to look for this gray line in the top left corner, hover over it, and when your cursor changes to a hand sign, you can click and drag to set your freeze point. That's it for this video. Your weekly goal tracker now looks slightly more professional with better formatting. In addition to the formatting we covered, you also learned keyboard shortcuts that will make you way faster and maybe even look cooler. Next time, we're moving into formulas, the part where your spreadsheet starts doing math for you. We'll build something new that involves numbers and calculations, so you can see how powerful these tools really are. As usual, we'll start simple and build from there. In the meantime, don't forget to practice the shortcuts you learned today. Eventually, they will become second nature and save you tons of time. Thanks for following along. See you in the next video. Peace.